Talkin' Sex Live is recorded in front of a live audience. This show is for mature listeners only.
This is Talkin' Sex Live with Chet and Diane.
That's right.
I am Chet.
And I'm Diane.
And we are an unlicensed sex therapist couple. We're sex educators.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't got any type of formal schooling for this. We are streaming live right now to Twitch. We're also recording for YouTube and also for podcasts. So we're dressed up. We're actually at a Christmas party right now. We snuck out. We're in this weird little room where there's a Christmas tree and a fire, and we're running a show. This is Talkin' Sex Live for everybody who's watching. And we are joined, as always, with our great producer, Wells Starnacki. How you doing today, Wells?
Hi, Chet. Hi, Diane. I can see you're dressed up for the Christmas party. I'm wearing my Joseph A. Bank sweater.
Yes,
Joseph A. Bank, the best a man can get. And I am so excited to hear our guests talk about how to ravish a woman and throw her around in a loving way.
So before we bring on our very special guest, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Peter Ross. Peter, how are you doing tonight, Peter?
Oh, I'm doing so well, Chet and Diane. As always, thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited about this one too. Maybe our guest can also teach us how a woman can pick up a man and throw him around and ravish him, or any combination thereof. I'm excited about this. I enjoyed this guest last time she was on the show, and it's always fun to learn something new and try a new technique. So yeah, I'm excited about tonight.
Yeah, the reason why we're talking about picking women up and and throwing them around is because we were talking about this before the show. But so we have our very special guest. We had her on before as a recorded interview that we performed. Now she's live on the show. Welcome everybody, Susan Bratton.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Chet. Hi, Diane.
Hello.
Hi, Wells. Hi, Peter. I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, great.
Great
Absolutely
to see
fantastic.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, we were laughing because we were talking about an upside down sex position, and I was lamenting the fact that I'm almost 6 feet tall without my shoes on, and I've never been picked up and turned up upside down for a sex position, or even picked up and held for a sex position. And I guess it's just one of those things us big girls have to find the 6'5" guys or something to do. I don't come across one
or maybe
yet.
one of those St. Andrew's crosses or something. I mean, it's not quite the same as being held by a person, but at least you can, get flipped upside down and held against the wall one way or another.
So
where there's a will, there's a way. Then that turned us into talking about sex swings. And that's my compensatory strategy is to just use a sex swing.
Those are always fun. I've picked up Diane before with her hands, like I call it the pile driver. I don't know if that's the correct term. It's like
I don't think so.
Legs are here, and then like with body, and then down like that while we're standing up, and then we can do that for a good
only so long
2 minutes or so, 3 minutes, and then you get tired, and then. But I mean, the penetration.
I think most people know the pile driver from Street Fighter.
Yes.
I think that's Zangief's key move is the pile driver.
Or something, or WWE now.
It's a whole other thing.
Yeah. So
you know what else is funny? I was watching that show Legendary on, I think it's HBO Max. Do you guys know that show? It's a drag show.
No,
it's a ballroom. It's called Ballroom, but it's where drag queens dance, and they have to. It's a competition, and they have all these dance heats where they have to do certain things. It's like where voguing came from.
Oh, wow. So
they have this one move where they like throw themselves backward down on the ground, and kind of one leg kind of collapses behind them, and they fall down. And I think it's called like the death drop or something like that.
I believe so. Yes, I know the move you're talking about.
Death drop. And they just collapse on the floor in this dramatic collapse.
Incredible.
So when you said pile driver, I was thinking about the death drop or whatever it is that they do on this Legendary show. It's incredible. The costuming and everything is incredible.
Diane puts her head between my legs, and then I grab her, and then I jump, and then I smash her head into the ground.
Way to make
as long as she's into it.
Yeah. safe, safe, and consensual, right?
Safe, sane, and consensual.
I'm not sure that covers the safe side of that, that equation.
Well, I mean, if you're trained wrestlers, they do it, and they seem to be fine with it.
They have training for that.
There you go. They actually go to
just
fight
go
school
into
there.
that.
But,
no TBIs, no STIs.
No, it's all actually. There might be some oral in there. If it probably would you'd probably bite my dick off if
you do it wrong.
Do it wrong if it was in the mouth. But
that's the safety right there.
Susan, you said you're going to be joining us. You have a very special Making Whoopie 3.0 Intercourse Techniques. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I just thought that sometimes it's nice to, God, I've written about, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of sex techniques over the last going on 20 years. This is what I do for a living. As I write up sex techniques to give people ideas of fun things to do in the bedroom. And I've recently gotten really good at intercourse. You as you age, you get better and better at sex. And most recently, the last couple of years, my intercourse game has gotten incredible. I think in the early part of my sexual expansion, which happened in my early 40s, I really begun to have orgasms, and lots of them, and in orgasms in different ways. And the human body can have 20 different kinds of orgasms, both the penis owner and the vulva owner. We can come from 3 different kinds of orgasms: locations to touch, techniques like the expanded orgasm practice or erotic hypnosis. Those are kind of technique-driven orgasms. And then you have the third type, which we're going to play a little bit. You see this giant pile of sex toys next to me. I just kind of piled them all up here on my sofa.
Peter's
because
all into it now.
I'll do a little show. I got so many things. I'll do a little show and tell later, because one of the things that I like to teach is something called orgasmic cross training, because the third kinds of orgasms are orgasms with objects of desire. So I have a pile of objects of desire here because I mean, I cannot tell you. I was at the A4M longevity conference last year. I do a lot of sexual biohacking, which includes anti-aging and longevity strategies to, really keep not just your genitals, but your whole body in really good shape so you could have hot sex till the day you die. And I was talking to a lot of doctors, because it's basically a doctor's show. And I was talking to a number of women doctors who, when they found out I was a sexpert, it's like anything. It's like, oh, well, can I tell you about my sex life? And I'm like, of course, this is what everybody does. They tell me about their sex life. And they both admitted that they'd never had an orgasm from intercourse. And then went on to say, it's probably just me, and I'm perfectly fine without it. And I just really, with one of the women, I just took her to the mat. We were having cocktails and I had time, and she was captive sitting next to me. And I was like, you don't know what you're missing. It is a learned skill. You can learn it. Don't give up on it. You must keep trying. There are conditions that must be right and things that you need to know. But my God, why would you still be having intercourse if you weren't orgasming? And she was well into her 40s.
Yeah, no. Because doesn't the clitoris, it grows as you age, right? I mean, do you feel like that you hear the rumors that or not, I don't know if they're rumors, but women meet their sexual peak at 40 while men will be at 18 or 20 or whatever. Is that because the clitoris is larger when they are older, or what's your theory on that?
Well, I don't think that anybody hits their sexual peak until their 60s or 70s.
Oh, wow.
If they've put their intention and attention on becoming good lovers, and they've been interested in their sexuality, and they've been incrementing their knowledge and learning their skills, I think we're all better lovers now than we were last year or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So I don't think there is a peak. What does happen is, and your clitoris doesn't actually get bigger, everything shrinks. I have bad news, Chet, Diane, Wells, and Peter. Everything shrinks.
Oh no! But
It's
I
all
hear your
going
balls
away.
get bigger, though, right? Balls get
They get
bigger, penis
saggier.
gets smaller.
They stay the same size, but they droop more.
Yeah, so it's all perspective,
However,
right?
you can use penis pumps, vacuum erection devices, head enlargers, vulva pumps,
Oh, wow.
clitoral pumps, and they
Wow.
work great. You can also do Femi waves and Gaines waves. You can do PRP, which is called the O shot or P shot. These are all great things in addition to just use it or lose it. And if you're worried about getting too big, they even have these these little, have you guys seen these things? They're called O-nuts.
Yeah.
They're little bump-ons. Just
Yeah.
in case you pumped and got your dick too big.
Too big?
You can
Wow.
put the little bumper on there so you don't hurt her.
Well, it's a known issue for men who do have. I mean, you play it like it's a joke. People frequently do, but there is such a thing as too big of a penis, and you'll hear these men complain, "Oh, my penis is too big," and you laugh at the oh, poor you. But in reality, you can't bottom out. You can't have comfortable sex with many types of partners. So those are amazing. I do not have experience with them. I don't need them. I'm happy with my size, but I'm not big enough to need one of those. But they're amazing for the people who do, because they
It's
really
a Goldie
solve
cock.
a huge
That's our term for our cock.
Yes,
there,
that I have been told
Peter.
that's what I have, and
It's a
I'll go
Goldie
with
cock.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
right in the middle.
Yep.
It's not too big, not too small, just right. So,
Well,
but,
I've written.
go ahead.
I wrote a book about penis enlargement called The Pump Guide, and it's at pumpingguide.com. And I've helped thousands of men enlarge their penis using a vacuum erection device called the Whopper that does length and girth. And I even have they have a traction device now, which you wear for about a half an hour at a time, and it
just stretches
gently stretches the penile tissue and helps increase length, which is the hardest thing, because girth is pretty easy to get with a pump.
Right.
But you have to answer your question, you really have to reverse atrophy, the atrophy of aging, that shrinkage that happens to all of us. And to reverse atrophy, those sexual regenerative practices, they really work very well at revolumizing all the erectile tissue, because women have as much erectile tissue inside our vulva as our male-bodied partners do in their penis. Instead of just being along, like, where's my banana? Instead of being like if this is the penis and half of it sticks out and half of it actually goes in and down near the testicles, all of the fruit of a banana is erectile tissue. You take that same amount and you make it a little donut, and that's the tissue wrapped around the vagina, and it comes to a little point and a little penis with the clitoral tip. But the clit itself, I even have a picture. The clit itself,
like your pictures.
is really big. This is the clitoral, urethral, perineal, triple erectile tissue system of the female vulva. And there's the vagina. But all of this gets erect. And so honestly, when I find these sad women who are completely in denial that having orgasms from intercourse is something they can do, like, I just can't do it. Yep, she just can't do it. Okay, so now you've given up. It's like, it breaks my heart because orgasms from intercourse are so good. So I try to explain to women, it, like, 50 to 75% of it is engorgement, giving yourself enough time to get enough blood flow. Because guys, they're fast acting. They've got an erection very quickly, and they're already horny because they get a bath of testosterone every day, and they masturbate every day because they need to keep their sperm topped off. So they're just always all ready to go, and we're just slower. Women are like, I don't know, and then they have sex and they're like, oh yeah, that was good. And it's like, of course, you just need to be aroused and get a clitoral erection. And for 90% of women I talk to, 99% of women I talk to, that's news to them. So they've just been having sex so fast that they haven't been able to achieve their orgasmic potential. And so that's why I like to talk about the orgasm techniques, Making Whoopie 3.0, which is really orgasm, which is really intercourse techniques, because most people are in monogamous relationships with the opposite sex.
Most genders.
Yeah.
So we joke about this a lot on the show, that when Diane and we have sex, that I go down on her for 45 minutes, but it's not just that. It's also, that's just arousing her. It's like we understand that, vulvas and vaginas, they're not light switches like a penis is. You can't just pull it out and just start jerking it, and then you're ready to go.
An oven, not a microwave.
Yeah, it's a very complex switchboard that you got to get the right switches in, and then
well said.
Yeah, and then you can go ahead and arouse her, and like, you really shouldn't penetrate. I mean, she tells me, it's like, no, I'm not warmed up yet. And it's just like, I've been going down on you for like a half hour. Like, no, I'm not warmed up. And I'm like, all right, and I enjoy it. I do enjoy going down on her, but it is there are some positions that are like, oh, my jaw's starting to hurt, or
it's gonna fall off.
I'm tongue rubbing, exercises.
Yeah, I'm rubbing my tongue tie raw, and it happens.
Do the pre warm up
before
you start
going down. Before even going down, you gotta kiss the erogenous zones, you gotta rub, you gotta massage, you gotta play with the breast, you gotta touch all the right spots, and then you're ready to go ahead.
Well, and that's why it's important to not be going straight for the clitoris. I've heard complaints about there was this classic issue that the classic issue is the clitoris was forgotten, or that men didn't know where it was. And then porn finally caught up with the clitoris existing, but then porn just focused 100% on it. And so I've heard this complaint from many women. It's like, okay, back off a little bit on the clit. Now it's all about that. And it's like, it's an incredibly sensitive area. You need to warm up everything. And by everything, I mean, they mean everything. It's not just the vulva. It's the entire body is an erogenous zone. Any part of you can be sexy and react that way, and it's all about including all of it, including the person. It's also not just the skin, it's not just the nerves, it's the person inside of that. It's what gets them turned on and what's sexy to them. So it's the talk, it's the feel, it's the touch, it's the entire experience, sound and smell, and you name it. It all matters.
So what are some of your techniques that you're developing there, Susan, in the 3.0?
Yeah, well, leveraging off of what Peter was saying, I think that he's clearly the kind of man that's connected his cock to his heart. Aww. And one of my techniques is, I know he's like, oh, shucks.
I'm going to make that my byline now.
Yeah, you should get a t-shirt that says, I've connected my cock to my heart.
My cock and heart are connected.
I call one of my techniques for men, because I have techniques for men and women, both for intercourse, for fabulous intercourse. And one of them is called the heart-tongue technique, because for a lot of guys, they think about their penis as a piston, and they think about the vagina like it's the inside out of a penis, like it's a sheath. And the vagina is more like a little stretchy pocket inside there, and there's so much everywhere inside there. It's not right. And so there's a couple of things that I tell guys, and when I tell them, they're like, oh shit, I instantly get that. Number one is, if she can't feel your heart through your penis, you're not present with her, you're not emotionally connected. What do women want? Good grooming and emotional connection. That's their number one and number two. They don't want you to be dirty birds, and they want you to be present and connected with them. They want to feel you. They want to feel your love. And so this notion of your penis being your heart, that you could feel your heart, your beating heart, that you're beaming love into her, and that it's not a penis, it's a tongue. It's very articulate, and it can really be much more playful inside her than just this in and out. I think that's probably one of the things that's important. And then, gosh, one of the other things that I think is really important is this notion that there are different kinds of strokes. So there's sliding strokes and there's grinding strokes, right? So there's deep strokes and there's shallow strokes. There are times when you're almost all the way inside of her, and you're not pulling out much. You're just staying in there, and you're almost pulsating your penis inside her and finding different places inside her and connecting with her. Especially for women who, after they get good at penetration, they want G-spot stimulation, they want A-spot stimulation, they want P-spot stimulation, they want cervical stimulation, they want the floor of the vagina touched with and stroked with the penis to get that perineal sponge. So I think that's important. And then I also tell guys, think about your penis also like a pool cue or gun whale, right? So, you can aim at different places inside there too. So it's just creating this more like three-dimensional dynamic in their brain rather than just the in and out. Because honestly, the number one thing that women complain about is the friction of intercourse, because the introital sphincter, the opening to the vagina, it's a circular muscle, and it should be tight. And so when I talk to women, I say, open yourself to lovemaking. So many women, to try to achieve an orgasm, they clench down, they're really like,
sort of relaxing.
The relaxation isn't there, right? Yeah.
Open, breathe into your yoni. Another word for the vulva. Open everything. The minute you and a lot of women are afraid, if I open it, he'll think my pussy's too big, it's loose, or it's but with proper engorgement, manual stimulation from toys, tongues, the penis, all that tissue gets so plump and fluffed up that she can open, and then everything feels incredible. And another thing that I tell people is, when you're making love to a woman and you're inside her, you could be thrusting, or you could be moving her on you. Kind of like how a heart goes. That's glissando. It's that up and down kind of thing. And when she's fully open and not trying to clench down, but actually opening to her orgasm and in full relaxation, and he's slowly, his rhythm is important. He's got to have a rhythm that kind of toggles her nervous system. So the short and the long strokes, or the deep and the shallow strokes, delivering sensation where you're penetrating her and then where you're moving her on you, or delivering shallow, smooth strokes and then some long, deep strokes, and then back to shallow. Those kinds of toggles. Also, in the female vulva, she likes a combination of internal vaginal and G-spot stimulation with external clitoral light stroking. Back to G-spot, internal, more light stroking. You can do that with your fingers going back and forth, in addition to blended orgasms for her, or you're stroking her G-spot, stroking her clitoris, combining them at the same time. Those are really nice. So the back and forth, I think, is also just getting a sense that the nervous system actually, you climb the arousal ladder higher and have more intensity of orgasm when you're doing these kinds of toggles, because there's this notion called peaking. And peaking is, I'm delivering a stroke, I'm delivering, I pause. And she's like, oh, I want more of that. And then she reaches for it. And that takes her turn on a little bit higher. And then you just go right back to delivering. Give it a second. She reaches, you deliver. It's really nice to give the nervous system that I want that, that kind of a thing. We use peaking a lot in the expanded orgasm practice, which is a clitoral stroking technique that helps women take the moment of climax and stretch time like taffy, so that she can ride her orgasm, so she can just really learn how to be in orgasm for very long times,
So
and then stack those.
Sorry to stop, but
No problem.
would you say, is it a heightening kind of experience? Like it's like more and more. It's like a graph that's more kind of exponential, and then when you get to that peak, to pull back, and then like kind of it'll drop off, and then heighten it again to a part where you don't quite get to the climax. So I'm gonna put an X where the climax is. It just kind of rises and goes down, and is it? If you're looking at a graph and it goes up and it goes down, and does it gradually continue to go up and then to like climaxes right there and you pull back and you get to a point, or is it all the way back down to the x-axis? Sorry to get really nerdy here. I love numbers and graphs and stuff, but do you want to go back down to the to almost to base zero there, or do you want to kind of pull back just a little bit until it gets to like until you each little sine wave that goes up, you're increasing it up on the pleasure or arousal zone there until you get to that climax. What's your thought on that?
Yep. Okay. So half right, half wrong.
Okay. No, I like to hear this. Yeah.
And I'll give you the chart. So, and by the way, at expandherorgasmtonight.com, I have a book that is What is Expanded Orgasm? And it has all the sine wave charts in there.
Oh, cool. Very good. I like
see
that
the difference
stuff.
between a regular orgasm, an extended orgasm, an expanded orgasm, and multiple orgasms. And it really makes it clear what the difference is. But essentially, you don't want, so you're giving her an orgasm, and she's having a good orgasm. And when I say removing the sensation or stopping the sensation, it's almost just an intentional pullback. It's not dramatic at all. It's super subtle. You're just stopping a beat and then continuing. You're not withholding much at all. And it just makes her nervous system. She's like getting it. Getting it, and she just reaches a little bit for it. So you'll frustrate her if you pull back. What you want to do is you want to give her an orgasm, give her a tiny rest, and then take her up again. Give her an orgasm. That orgasm can go a little longer. When she crests over and she's stretched it out as far as she can and she's finished that orgasm, give her a second and then take her up again. That one can last even longer and be more intense. And so what an expanded orgasm is, it's actually not even a linear stair step where each step goes higher and the step is longer. It's actually a step out into space. It's a three-dimensional improvement.
Getting to the z-axis now.
I'm on the z-axis. Exactly, Chet. Because what you're doing is you're expanding her length, intensity, and I think those are the two, right? That's really what it is. It's length and intensity. She can go longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, time and pleasure.
Length is time. So it is those two dimensions, but everything's building on all the dimensions.
Now, a lot of these techniques you talk about, and especially as we get older, we have various limitations that get in the way and problems. I mean, are there furniture recommendations, things like, there's wedges, like the Liberator is a common popular one. There's a wide variety of brands. There are certain things you have to work in to your techniques to help you get around some of the physical limitations you may have. Maybe it's bad wrists or bad ankle or the neck problems or whatnot. But do you have like like a common toolkit that you like to recommend for people to look at, or that help them with some of the positions that they need to pull off some of these more advanced or more long lasting techniques?
Well, giving someone an expanded orgasm, those are great questions. Number one, use PRP and exosomes if you've got bad joints and remediate them, reverse them. I mean, sexual biohacking includes taking care of all of those parts, right? So it's not just reversing genital atrophy with the Whopper and the Gaines wave and things like that, and the Femi wave and the vulva pump and all those things. It's also just taking care of all your parts and continuing to work out and exercise and get good blood flow and to eat your green vegetables and don't use antibacterial mouthwash and don't take acid blockers and proton pump inhibitors that ruin your nitric oxide production and all those things. But I do love the Liberator wedges. They are terrific. And I think one of the really fun things as well about helping a woman have penetration orgasms is that, which is kind of what we're talking about here, is putting her on a Liberator wedge and tying her hands if she wants it, her feet. They come with these little extensions, tying her down on there, and then adding things like dirty talk. And by dirty talk, what I really mean is words of adoration and appreciation. You're so beautiful. You're so sexy. You turn me on so much. You're such a good little comer. I want you to come for me. Whatever it might be, just telling her, you look so beautiful. Your pussy's so gorgeous. I love you shaved it so beautifully. It looks so perfect. It's so lickable. It's glistening. I see your little lips poking out now. Your clit's really popping. You've got a nice clit boner. I can tell you're really wet today.
Clit boner. I like it.
Whatever it might be, those components are also very important for what I like to call helping a woman cross the gasm chasm, closing the orgasm gap between how easy it is for a male-bodied partner and how unfortunately difficult it has been for women to have orgasms from intercourse because they didn't know it's simply a learned skill and takes engorgement, encouragement, and enough time to get turned on,
What would you say to if you have a partner, like a female partner that only wants to orgasm like twice, or just like sometimes it's just too much or it's too intense? Like if you like sometimes some women just one and done or two and done, and they don't really, it can be exhausting, if you want to get more than two in. But I mean, what would you say to encourage? I mean, of course, it's all. I mean, it's your choice. Nobody should be forced to do anything they don't want. But I mean, if you want to say that, like, give it a shot, what are some pros about it, or what are some words of encouragement to if someone's interested in trying to get more, if they really only want to have two? Or what would you say to that?
Yeah, that's a combination of two things, and it's very, very common. And actually, men write to me about it all the time. My wife is a one and doneer, and it's boring as hell for me. And there's really two components to that. The first is, number one, she has a limiting belief that that's her potential. So he needs to expand her belief in herself and her orgasmic capacity by educating her, because that's fear and lack of knowledge rooted in fear, rooted in lack of knowledge. The second thing is that he's driving her clit too hard. So, Peter was talking about how delicate and sensitive the vulva is. And really the problem is that when a woman is kind of like stroked too hard, and she has that orgasm, and then she's very sensitive. It's very similar to what I would imagine men's blue balls feels like. It's like, in a different way. It's like hurty pain, like a hurty, annoying genital sensation, and that's where, again, that expanded orgasm practice comes in really well, because the stroke itself is actually a stroke that is so light. It's with the tip of the finger. And this is the part of our body that has almost as many nerve endings as the tip of the clitoris, with 10,000 nerve endings. And it feels so beautifully, and it can feel the meat of the clitoral glands underneath the skin, and it can feel the shaft. And when it strokes under the skin, not the skin covering the clitoris, the tip and the shaft, but actually the body of the clitoral tissue, and it's super light. You know how when you get an eyelash on your eye and you touch your eyes so lightly to get that eyelash off your eye, you don't stick your finger in your eye.
Yes.
That's how you stroke a clit. That light, with some really nice organic avocado oil, organic sweet almond oil, not coconut oil.
Oh, you don't like coconut oil?
Antibacterial. Coconut oil is naturally antibacterial, and you don't want to disrupt the delicate vaginal microbiome.
Oh, the biome down there, yeah.
So, and also it has it kind of gets stuck to the vaginal the proteins in the vaginal lubrication, and it makes little balls of stuff. So I mean, almost all lubes do after a while, because we're shedding lubricant out of our vaginas, which, by the way, our vaginas aren't self-lubricating. It's actually blood flow down to the pelvic bowl. So women who have lubrication issues, they need more blood flow. They need to take their nitric oxide, eat their leafy greens, eat their beetroot, get moving, because that's really what soaks through the vaginal mucosal lining and wets it. But for those women who are the one and dones or the two and dones, it's a combination of slow down, warm up the clit, get her feeling the lighter so one of the things I've been doing for the last 2 months is helping my girlfriend prepare for the birth of her daughter, and she wants an ecstatic home birth. And so I am her ecstatic birth partner.
Oh,
it's such a joy. She's such a lovely girl and a lovely young woman. She's 42 and she tried so hard for this baby, and she's a pleasure coach. And so I've been giving her yoni massages, vulva massages, a few times a week over the last few months. She calls me up and she's like, "Hey, can you come over and give me a pussy massage? And do you have any ice cream?"
Wow.
Don't forget the pickles.
Yeah.
And when I first started giving her yoni massages, and I was touching her whole vulva, and I was warming up her breasts, and I was warming up her belly, and rubbing her beautiful belly, and rubbing her mons and her outer labia and her groin and her thighs, and long before I ever approached her clitoris or went inside her. The other day, the last time I was stroking her, we were actually she was lying down on her little cushions, and I was just lying beside her, and I think I had like my head on my hand like this, and I just had my hand on her, and I was just feeling her, and I was just stroking between her inner labia, and then just stroking these circles on her clit, and then just stroking the shaft of her clitoris, and then doing long strokes up and down. And it was so languorous. And she was just coming, and they were real mild and gentle and easy. Like, that baby's about a week overdue. Like, I was playing with her nipples, trying to get her to come, and or trying to get her to like get the baby to come. We're all ready to go.
Yeah, get that oxytocin going, right?
Get that oxytocin going. And I could have done that 2 months ago, because she needed more sensation in the beginning. But as I've slowly enlivened and awakened all of the parts of her vulva, and I would tell her, I'm touching the outer labia, I'm touching the mons, I'm stroking the skin beneath the mons, I want it to get like jelly. And I was just telling her all these different things about her own body, so she could get that mind-body connection. And she said that light stroke that she would have never been able to feel so much pleasure from such a light stroke before I had done all of this massaging to her. Her vulva feels like a ripe peach now. I mean, it's just so lush and beautiful and responsive, and the orgasms they're just washing over her with no effort at all now. And it's just a really incredible experience, and that is the birthright of every person. Whether you're a penis owner or a vulva owner, so many men, they need you to crank on their penis, and it's got to be right on the tip, and it's really hard, and you got to tickle my balls just this way. And it's like it's one path to orgasm. One woman I was talking to earlier today, she said, the only way I can ever come is lying on my belly with my hand underneath me, stroking my clit, and that's the only way I can come. And it's like, okay, that's great. Let's talk about orgasmic cross training, right? And this is why we have all of these tools, because this is what, if you don't have someone who's willing to invest in the time to lie there and pleasure your genitals by hand, then you can do it yourself. So that's the beauty of this, is you take what's working, and then you bring in new things to teach your nervous system how to have orgasms in different ways.
Interesting. So, for you, like as a man trying to please a woman, I don't feel that a lot of men have the patience to do what you're doing with your client or friend there. Just taking the time to slowly touch. I feel like if a man if you remove the whole I'm gonna come, if like it, I feel like if you like if you took yourself out of this is going to be a sexual experience for me, this is only going to be a sexual experience for her, I feel like he could sit and do all this. It would be more therapeutic than it would be for him to do. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense there? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say two things. Number one, don't underestimate how much men love to pleasure women.
Oh yeah, I
They
love
just
pleasuring.
want to know
Yeah.
what to do. And number two, when I'm stroking her, I'm coming the whole time too. When she's coming,
nice.
I'm coming. So all that's just a learned skill. You can get as much pleasure from the giving as the getting. Because you just create one limbic connection together. You connect your hearts, you connect your nervous systems, you connect your turn on, and then when she's coming and you're coming and you generating that, it's turning her on more.
So I mean, what are some tips for a partner to do this? So I mean, if what we're trying to get to is that it takes a lot longer for a woman to have your vulva and engorged and your vagina engorged, and it takes several steps to get to that point. What are some tips that you can give a partner to be patient with that and take those steps, like to get to that point for your partner to be there, if it makes any sense?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, I like this notion of the everted clitoral erection. Everted means, this is where I get nerdy, from the inside out instead of from the outside in. So the inside out is if you make out with her, which is also pleasurable for you, I would hope, and you play with her breasts and nipples, which I would also hope is pleasurable for you. Who doesn't love a handful of titty? I know I do. I like them to be in hands, and I like hands full of them. I like my own hands on my own titties.
In your mouth, yeah.
Titties are just a popular thing. So both of those things are directly connected to the clitoral structure, and they get her arousal going from the inside. And then you learn yoni massage and lingam massage. So yoni is the tantric lovemaking word for the vulva, all the lady parts, and lingam is the dick and balls. And giving him a lingam massage is also a super loving thing to do. So spending more time with sensual massage, erotic massage, mutual masturbation, breast and nipple play for both partners. Nipple play is great. Making out. This is sex. This is sex. This is not foreplay. This is sex. I don't even like the word foreplay. I think it's bullshit. It's like the thing guys think they have to do to get their dick in you. And really, if they were like, oh, this whole thing is sex and it's all fun and I can have orgasms from all of it because I can become a multi-orgasmic man and I can have full body energy orgasms. Oh, well. Oh, you mean I don't need to just have one orgasm when I ejaculate? Oh, cool. Show me how to do that. Oh, great. Now, Jesus, I'm lasting as long as I want to. I have ejaculatory choice. I'm having orgasms the whole time. This is incredible. My sex life is on fire. Women love to have sex with me. I'm so good in bed. That's the kind of stuff I usually would say to guys. And then they'd be like, okay, I'll do that.
Well, like Diane and I, when we have sex, or if we have sex multiple times in the day, we don't even do like penis and like vaginal intercourse. We just do oral, or we'll just do some mutual masturbation or stimulating, some hand stuff, if you want to call it that. But then I mean, we'll go about like 3 or 4 times, because if we find if it's penetrative intercourse, penis and vagina, we get sore. You get too sore, like to go several times in the day like that. So it's best for us to go ahead and mix it up, and we still call it sex. It's still we have orgasms, and it's connection, and it's lovemaking, it's intercourse for us. So
I think that's why it's important to see sex as more than the classic penis and vagina, and that's it.
Exactly.
It's so much more. I mean, there's different parts and different combinations of parts and different focuses and different ways to orgasm. And I mean, yeah, you talked about the orgasmic cross training, because I can't count how many people who I've also heard it's like, I can only come this way. It's like, I mean, I'm glad you can come at all. That's wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's so many other options and so many combinations and so many things that you're walled off from not being able to try those other things. And I think that absolutely goes for everyone, and including penis owners. I mean, with the penis, it seems so easy that you don't even think about other options, but there's so many. And once you learn them, it's like, oh, that's a whole other type of sensation I could never have imagined.
I feel like it's about ease as well. Like if you're a vulva owner and you're finding a little bit it's difficult to orgasm, and you find a way that it is easy for you, it's like I know I can orgasm in 15 minutes if I do it like this. And so typically the vulva owner won't exactly explore other ways, because it's sometimes it can be frustrating, or it can be exhausting, or
let's just get this done.
Let's just get it done, because I mean, I'm enjoying it, it's fun, but sometimes you just want to orgasm. And so you just go what and you go what's easy, instead of taking a whole lot of time to try and do it another way when you know what works. So what would you say to those people, Susan, who tend to be, I wouldn't say stuck in a rut, but just stuck in a way that they know they can go ahead and orgasm?
Two things. Number one, something I recently put together is this personalized sex life master plan. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com, and it's a downloadable PDF that you can print out at home, and you can I have a video that comes with it. It's all free. This is just free stuff. I have a video that comes with it that walks you through what all these things are, and there are 48 different exciting, fun things you might enjoy doing in the bedroom. And so instead of just being like, okay, well, I want you to orgasm more different ways, you just present this notion of a sex life master plan. You're just like, okay, let's find out what's on your sex life bucket list. Let's do some fun things together. Let's see what sounds good to you. Let's see what sounds good to me. Let's mark everything that sounds good to you, that wants to go on your bucket list, with an A. Everything that if I wanted to do it, you'd be willing to, but it wouldn't go on your bucket list, but you'd be open to doing it. That's a B. And C's are, it's not for me right now. Never say never. Right.
Never
you could look back on something and go, oh, I used to think that was really freaky shit, and now it's what I really want to do, and I can't stop thinking about it. So I think that's the best way to get people to explore, is to just give them lots of options and see what it is that's interesting to them. Because if you're thinking, oh, I wish you could orgasm more different ways, you're looking at scarcity mindset versus abundance. I just say flip it to an abundance mindset. Look at all the fun things we can do. And then if you wanted to learn specifically, do you want to see my orgasmic cross training ideas?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'd love to.
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are like the 5 basics. Okay. So the very first one is, and what I say is, and this is female focused, I also have some male toys if you'd like to see those. What I like to say is that every woman should have at least 5 or 6 vibrators or sex toys in her bedside table.
Can't argue with you there.
Exactly. Because each one of them stimulates different parts of the vulval anatomy, allowing her to expand and activate that tissue and get more engorgement to all the different parts, so that everything's swollen and bigger, engorged, so that it has more surface area that can send more signals of pleasure to the brain, which is the biggest sex organ. Really, that's what you're trying to do with all this, is activate the neural pathways on these different locations of the vulva. So the womanizer is an air stimulator.
Wait, it's called the womanizer?
Womanizer.
Yep.
And
okay.
it's a little
It seems like I don't know that term conjures different
the name
thoughts.
is a little iffy, but
yeah,
yes,
it's like it should have a mullet or something on it.
It's a beloved device.
It has like a Pabst a PBR or something like that in its
Yes.
hand. But anyways, go ahead.
So that's a really good one for many women, and they love it. Another one that I think is really good is kind of like a motor boat. This is a clitoral pleasure tool, and it's interesting because this is called the Volta by Fun Factory, and this one it for some women this is like their absolute favorite type of stimulation, and interestingly enough it can be a very light stimulation, and so it's good for those women who like a super light stimulation.
That seems like it's more of like a tongue flick. Like is that closely?
It's a liquor.
It's like a liquor. Okay, that might be
simulating.
That's the Diane's alley there.
Yeah,
simulating
this is this
cunnilingus,
air stimulator. This is called a liquor. Yeah. And then probably the one that I most commonly recommend, like the number one toy I think most women should have, is essentially a rabbit style vibrator. And this is two different versions of the same concept from Fun Factory. There's a few brands I really like, and Fun Factory is one of them. They're a German company. Their motors are good. They make their own silicone. All of this material isn't going to flake off, and it's toxin free. They're very nice. This one is called the Lady Bi, and this one is called the Miss Bi. But they're the same thing. They're two motors. Bi means two in German. So two motors, a clitoral pad, and then an internal vaginal stroker, has a G-spot bump, and then can go longer if you have a giant vagina like I do, or a tiny little vagina like some other women do. It just depends on which one you would want. Some women like the sizey ones.
Yeah,
So
Fun
that's
Factory,
really good.
That was we went to a very fun store up in Reno, Nevada called the Chocolate Walrus, and that was their top brand of sex toys was the Fun Factory. So
yeah, they're very high quality toys. They're easy to charge. Their chargers are nice. They don't fall apart. They last forever. I mean,
wow, good.
Oh, that's good.
I always tell people be very, very
these.
careful. Don't buy toys on Amazon and stuff like that. Don't buy novelty items. They have plasticizers and phthalates that are endocrine disruptors. They literally poison you. Just don't cheap out on this stuff. The next one that I think is really good is a G-spot toy. And this one is one of my favorites. This is called the Curve from Hot Octopus. Hot Octopus is an excellent brand, especially for people who are gender spectrum and male sex toys. They have a couple of other male sex toys that I'm going to show you as well.
I think we have a Curve, right? Yeah, we have a curve. Yeah, I think we have a curve. That's the one where you can squeeze it, and then it can vary the.
It's very jelly.
I was saying we have one. I thought it was called the Curve, where you can squeeze the base of it to vary the vibration intensity. So instead of having a button to move the motor stronger and weaker, you just squeeze it. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
it did break.
That's what this one is like. When you hold it, it goes on.
Wow.
And if you come and you drop it, it goes off. You don't have to find the button to turn it off, which is kind of nice.
That one kind of looks like the heads from Easter Island.
Yeah, yeah. What are they called? The Rapa Nuis.
Yeah, there it is. That's totally what it is. So sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. G-spot toy is really nice. I love this one because it's very soft, Hot Octopus Curve. It has a bass and treble, so it has two motors in it. I particularly like to do this when I'm going down on my partner and I have this in my vagina and I'm stroking my G-spot while I'm giving them oral pleasure.
Wow.
That's a very nice kind of like two double sensation combination. It's really fun and it's super sexy for them too. So this is nice because it's G-spot. If you want to go more G-spotty, these kinds of glass or even stainless steel curved wands are nice, especially with a point, because the G-spot is if you hook under the pubic bone. That's a really nice place to stimulate. And the only problem with these and the stainless steel is that Be careful that you don't hurt your partner.
Yeah.
You know, they can be strong. So I have at G-Spot Joy, Joy, gspotjoy.com, I have a video, because the manufacturers never make videos to show you how to use these things. So I have a fairly homegrown video of using G-Spot wands the right way so that you give her squirting orgasms and don't hurt her delicate vaginal tissue. I just wanted to fill the gap in the world of being able to actually give instruction. So G-Spot. So right now what we have is air stimulator, liquor, rabbity, intravaginal, clitoral combination, activate the whole thing, Lady by Miss by, curve, G-Spot wand. I think this is called Bee Kitty, but these are a dime a dozen. This is easy to find, just cheap. And then last but not least is, this is a thruster or pulsator, and it uses magnets, and it can be hands-free inside the vagina, and it has a nice G-spot bump. And
that looks really powerful. Like it looks like your hands jagging back and forth there. So.
Oh yeah, and it's only on the first
first and lowest setting.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really good for women who are like, well, I didn't have sex with my husband for a couple decades. I'm divorced now, and I'm really afraid to go back out in the market and have intercourse because I think my vagina's fused shut. And I'm like, okay, you got to warm that baby up. Well, this is a thruster or pulsator. This is going to help a woman cross the chasm with penetration orgasms as well. And so I think this one, if you're not orgasming from intercourse, this is really nice with a vibrator on top of the clitoral structure outside. So you put this inside, it's hands-free, and then you've got your vibrator on your clitoris too. So you're doing that cross training. That's really nice. That's kind of like the 5 basic vibrators I think are really good for activating the entire vulva.
Have you had experience with the Osei yet?
I haven't.
That was a really big deal because it's a blended orgasm. So it's both the clitoral stimulation as well as the G-spot stimulation in one unit. And that's the one that it was famous for winning an award at CES that they then revoked because they didn't want to promote adult toys at CES. And then they rescinded that revocation after all of the outcry over the fact that, this is ignoring a really important segment of personal health. So, it got a lot of attention, but I was just curious if, because I have yet to meet anyone who's used one.
Well, they're out of business.
Oh.
They went out of business.
Osei did?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I
All
didn't
gone.
hear.
Yeah,
oh,
they're all
no.
gone. But Womanizer has a air stimulator with G-spot vibrator. I don't have it here. Yes, I do.
Oh boy, look at that.
The girl is organized.
What?
This is the Womanizer Duo. And this blows, it's that vibrator that makes your hair just like...
Yeah, that looks like a gun off of Star Trek right there. I mean,
it really
it's
does.
like a phaser.
Oh, this'll beam you up.
Oh, nice.
Don't worry. This is almost like more intensity than I can handle.
Wow.
The simultaneous air stimulator with G-spot vibrator is super intense. It's one of those, kind of kind of orgasms. I like those. Yeah, so that's a good one. Last but not least, let's do the dudes. Do you want to?
Sure thing.
So,
when you think of sex toys for men, there's just like two kinds. It's all. I mean, it's either.
It feels like it.
Yeah, it's either a P-spot vibrator or a like a pocket pussy. So, what do you got there?
And
Susan?
I don't even have a sleeve here right now. I don't even have one of those sleeves here. But there's a couple of toys that I like.
No pun intended.
Prostate massagers. I love this one because it sticks to your shower or what have you, and that's really nice. And it is a remote with a cord, which in some cases is actually super helpful. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
You don't see them very much anymore. That's something that was like about 15 years ago. That was like the standard right there. And then like, hey, you know what? Technology can put the motor inside or like all the controls inside this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, wireless.
But I'll show you why I like this so much.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one because number one, it's very soft. It has a great little motor. And if this is inserted into your partner, you can have the remote control. And I really like that. But the problem with the remote controls, now here's another one that I really like a lot. I think this one's literally like a Cal Exotics or something. It's a dime a dozen kind of thing, but it's handy. This one, I really like this. This is called the Plex, P-L-E-X, from Hot Octopuss again. And it's got a very nice motor in it. And it's a really good looking, smooth, silky, nice flange base, etc. And it has a remote control. But I have to say, it's dark in the room. You drop this. You're fucked. You can't.
Like the Amazon remote control. You're just like, where the fuck that Fire Stick remote go?
Also, the buttons aren't lighted. So this is great if you're doing it for yourself, but don't give this to your girlfriend. She will lose this in 2 seconds, and then you got this thing up your butt. It might be going too fast. I don't know. So
turn it off. I can't.
Jane, stop this crazy thing.
I can't show you how many times it's happened.
So there's those two. And then this one I do really like as well. This is, and what's nice is this has onboard controls plus a remote control.
Wow,
this is another Hot Octopuss. What?
Another Star Trek device right there. And
it accommodates a very large penis, but also a medium-sized penis. So that's nice. And this has both a perineal and clitoral vibrator. So you put your balls through this too. This was under
okay.
balls.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's
So here's your penis sticking out. I have a banana. Go. And so remember when we were talking about intercourse techniques and we were talking about sliding and grinding? So the feline grind is really nice. I also have one called Crouching Tiger Squatting Dragon or something like that. And what I like to teach women how to do is to be on top and to think about not just sliding up and down, but also grinding, going all the way down, getting his penis all the way inside you. And then you have control over your clitoral stimulus on this vibrator. And he's getting, especially for older guys who start to have sensation loss from atrophy, the nerves atrophy, they can't feel as much. And so if Gainswave will fix that, which is nice, 99 times out of 100. But this is really nice because it gives him some extra stimulation, because some women are like, he never comes. I'm rubbed raw. It's driving me crazy. What do I do? I'm like, try this. This is called the Pulse Duo Lux, I think it is.
I see an Atom Plus Lux.
Atom Plus Lux. Thank you, Peter. That's what I needed.
That's our sex toy expert.
Yeah. And then this one's super cute too. This is the Manta. And this one is really good. I like this one for giving your guy a blowjob. And you stroke this up and down. This is a stroker. This is very similar to the sleeve. It's like a takeoff on the sleeve that I think is really nice because this feels incredible, sliding up and down the shaft and the glands and the tip. And it's really fun to combine it with oral pleasure. It slides really well on spit, which is nice because it's such nice silicone.
So what's actually vibrating on there? Is it the wings that are on there?
Yeah, the wings, the whole thing vibrates, but the wings especially do. Can you see it?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can see it vibrating.
Yep.
But
yeah, that looks like that would do a lot with the frenulum or the former frenulum for those of us who've been circumcised.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I'm sorry.
But that looks like that would do a lot. That's great.
Yeah. This is a super fun gift for a guy. It's like, I got you this and unlimited blowjobs. Happy birthday, Anna.
I was going to say, we'll get Wells that for Christmas, but not the unlimited blowjobs. So.
Yes.
I welcome that.
So anyway, those are a few of my Susie sexy show and tell. I hope you enjoyed.
It was very informative. I really appreciate you being on. That's about our time. We're a little over the hour mark, and thank you for everyone for sticking around, and thanks for everyone on podcast for listening. Susan, it's always a pleasure having you on. We'd love to have you back. So much information. Anytime. Yeah, it's really great. So, happy holidays to you and to those who are watching. Hope you have a happy holidays as well. This is our Christmas episode or holiday episode, and this was our gift to everyone, all of our listeners, is the wonderful orgasmonaut Susan Bratton. She has been just a treat. Please go ahead and give this video a like. Same thing with podcasts. Give us a follow on Twitch and everything else. We're going to go ahead and end the show right there. Please stay sex positive, everybody. And as always, keep it safe, sane, and consensual. Have a good night.